Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Vincent Hughes, and on behalf of the UNEP-convened Climate and Clean Air Coalition, or the CCAC, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to our event today, which is titled Clear Skies Ahead, Unveiling the Climate and Clean Air Coalition's Air Quality Management Exchange Platform. Now, as most of you know, this platform, which is also known as AQMx, is the products of years of collective effort from international organizations, from national governments, from banks, from philanthropies, from NGOs, as well as experts across the clean air space, culminating in today's launch of what really is a one-stop shop for air quality management guidance and tools. This curated guidance, which delivers solutions directly to governments that are committed to action on clean air through the Breathe Life campaign, which is a partnership of the World Health Organization, the CCAC, UNEP, and the World Bank, as well as the entire CCAC coalition partnership and beyond, will grow with time, and it's already translated into each United Nations official language. It'll also encourage knowledge sharing that crosses all borders. And of course, just as air pollution knows no borders, neither should the fight against it. Now today, to celebrate the launch of this platform, we'll hear from leading contributors to the platform, to AQMx, from across a variety of sectors, as well as from air quality experts and thought leaders from around the world. And so throughout the hour, we'll hear from health experts on the impact that air pollution has on our health, from the financial community on the importance of funding clean air initiatives. And we'll also hear from countries and subnational governments on the work that's already being done every day to tackle air pollution, as well as from those involved here at the CCAC Secretariat with building the platform that we're just so excited to launch today. And throughout, we'll also hear how AQMx, of course, can support each of these critical elements. We'll also hear directly from air quality managers themselves on the ground around the world on how AQMx will impact their work on a daily basis and ultimately contribute to cleaning the air that we all breathe. Without further ado, we'll begin with a video message from the Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Program and the Undersecretary General of the United Nations, Inger Andersen.
Clean air is a fundamental element of human health, and yet less than 1% of development funding is dedicated to fulfilling the right to breathe clean air. And as a result, 99% of the world's population breathes unsafe air. Air pollution is linked to over 8 million deaths a year. And dirty air brings economic losses too and drives climate change and worsens inequality and damages childhood development. The Air Quality Management Exchange Platform, being launched today by the UNEP-convened Climate and Clean Air Coalition, is a stride forward in dealing with this deadly problem. This platform, called AQMx for short, responds to the United Nations Environment Assembly's call for increased global cooperation on this issue. The goal is to set the path to meeting the interim targets of the World Health Organization's air quality guidelines. This platform provides guidance and tools for air quality managers with a focus on low and middle income countries. It also highlights actions to take in areas such as air quality monitoring, inventory development, air quality standard setting, health and impact assessment, and so much more. My deep thanks to those who contributed to this platform: the UN Economic Commissions, the World Health Organization, the World Meteorological Organization, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, international NGOs, philanthropic community, and of course, many, many countries as well. I encourage air quality managers to use this platform to design and implement policies, to work with their counterparts in sectors that cause air pollution, and to engage in the next phase, which will focus on creating regional communities of practice and working with the sectors that cause air pollution, such as energy, transport, industry, agriculture, and waste. This platform is the clean air community speaking with a united voice. We must now make clean air a priority in decisions on health, on climate mitigation and resilience, and on regulations and finance. Air pollution is a global problem, but it is a preventable one, and this platform can help make a real difference.
Many thanks to Executive Director Andersen for that video. It really is hard to believe that just a few months after the UNEA 6 resolution, we're already here announcing the AQMx platform. It's really an incredible day. We'll turn now to some of the leading voices on air pollution, beginning with Dr. Maria Niera, the Director at the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Health at the World Health Organization. Maria, it's great to see you. Your leadership really is one of the reasons that the world is now so familiar with the health impacts from air pollution, as well as the WHO air quality guidelines. Through the CCAC's and WHO's partnership on Breathe Life, we know that citizens and governments are really calling for increased air quality data to make more informed choices. And healthcare professionals, of course, are also calling for change across the most polluting sectors. Maria, why is public health such a powerful driver for change? And how have you seen this play out in recent years?
Thank you, Vincent, and thank you for organizing this, and wonderful to have this platform. Any platform is an opportunity to multiply efforts and to bring more partners and making sure that everybody will be breathing clean air. Vincent, as a doctor, I know what air pollution is doing to our lungs, to our brain, to our cardiovascular system. And what we want is to use the voice, the very strong voice of the health professionals, to make sure that more ambition and more speed is put into cleaning the air we are breathing every day. Tomorrow, I will be meeting with the respiratory societies. They are now very much committed on talking about the curative for those patients who are affected by air pollution, but at the same time stressing the importance of working on tackling the causes of air pollution and climate change, which, as you know well, they overlap. We are raising this with the ministers of health. We are bringing all the sectors, mayors can play an incredible role. And we are very happy of the collaboration with UNEP and the CCAC and the Breathe Life and many other initiatives that I think will give all of us no excuses. We have data, we have platforms, we have exchange of knowledge, we have all the dates that are now around us, reminding us the urgency of this problem. So no excuses for any of us, for policymakers, for the UN system, for citizens, for mayors, for health professionals, for all the sectors like the energy one, no excuses to start to make sure that we will reduce air pollution. And by doing so, we will reduce this horrible burden of the more than 7 million premature deaths every year, plus all the chronic diseases that are costing a fortune to our citizens and a fortune to our health system. So no excuses at all. Even the economic one shouldn't be an excuse, because we are spending already a lot on treating those chronic patients that will need. So please go for the interim targets of WHO for clean air. Go for even more the interim ones, the real ones that will protect all of us. And this will have only enormous positive, good benefits for health, for the economy, for the society, for the sustainable development. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and good luck on this platform that we are very excited to launch today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. It really is exciting to hear about the exchange of knowledge that's happening. And I know on behalf of the CCAC, we're really looking forward to the upcoming WHO conference on air pollution and health to really continue to build an integrated approach, as you mentioned, to health and climate going together hand in hand.
We'll Vincent, maybe just if you allow me, the dates of the conference in March next year in Cartagena, in Colombia. So we count on the collaboration of all of us, and thanks for allowing me to give some publicity to the conference that has to be an impactful one, making sure that we are changing the situation of clean air in the world. Thank you. Back to you.
Of course. Thank you, Maria. Really appreciate that. We'll now hear a video message from the Right Honorable Helen Clark, who, as many of you know, is the co-chair of the Our Common Air Commission and was also formerly the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and who, frankly, whose leadership on sustainable development and gender equality in particular as it relates to air quality highlights the fact that clean air touches all aspects of life. So over to the video from Helen.
Helen Clark recording for Helen Clark recording for
I think, unfortunately, we're having some technical issues with Helen's video, but perhaps we'll come back to it in just a little bit. Perhaps we'll move over to Peter Derry, who's the director at the Environment Division at the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation in Ghana. He also, as many of you know, has served most recently as the CCHE's co-chair for the past 4 years, and has guided us collectively towards a dedicated clean air flagship and an Africa Clean Air program. We'll hear a short video from him now.
Thank you very much, colleagues, distinguished colleagues from the CCAC and its partners. I am very grateful to be part of this important launch of the Air Quality Management Exchange platform today. I believe that this has come at the right time, especially now that we are midway to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Air quality is as important as the Sustainable Development Goals, and we cannot achieve the SDGs without managing or improving on our air. Everyone breathes air, and air is as important as the human being. In fact, you would feel the importance of clean air or air quality when you find yourself on a sick bed, gasping for breath, and then you will have to pay for oxygen, the oxygen that we breathe every day freely. Equally, I remember my minister who once mentioned that he has seen in postmortem that he has performed as a surgeon where toddlers have their lungs stuck just because of indoor pollution. The fact that these toddlers stay at the back of their moms whilst their mothers are cooking indoor. Air quality issues are transboundary, and therefore you need a whole of society approach to dealing with it. As you are aware, we have just launched the African Clean Air Program, and the African Clean Air Program is expected to deliver on a number of things. This exchange platform will support the implementation of this African Clean Air Program, and therefore I call on all to continue to support the CCAC and also support the delivery of the African Clean Air Program. We have already gone through a process of the African assessment, and there are quite a number of recommendations in there. Countries are expected to develop their national action plans for air quality management, and I believe that this can also be a one-stop shop for providing the needed data to most of these countries. We need to come together. We need to have a whole of society approach to dealing air quality issues, and I see this platform as a very good entry point to achieving this. I thank you all very much for participating in today's launch, and I wish all of us fruitful deliberations. Ghana is available to continue to provide leadership in the implementation of the African Clean Air Program. I thank you.
Many thanks to Peter for that. The Africa Clean Air Program, which really has flourished under his leadership, is such an opportunity to bring air quality managers together. And we at the CCAC really look forward to AQMx providing the right guidance as that program develops further. Now, as I've mentioned before, throughout this hour, we'll also be hearing from a few of our different air quality managers around the world who are on the ground dealing with air pollution every single day to speak on how AQMx will directly impact and help their work. First, for our air quality managers, we turn to Dakar in Senegal.
Bonjour. Le Sénégal a mis en place le Centre de gestion de la qualité de l'air, qui est un outil important d'aide à la décision, pouvant orienter les politiques publiques respectueuses de l'environnement. Alors, la plateforme AQMx, développée par la Coalition pour le climat et la qualité de l'air, revêt une importance capitale pour nous, en ce sens que cette plateforme constitue un outil d'échange, de connaissances, d'informations sur la qualité de l'air. C'est également une plateforme qui va nous permettre de partager de l'expérience et des connaissances en matière de surveillance de la qualité de l'air avec les technologies de stations de référence, notamment les technologies émergentes comme les microcapteurs, mais aussi de pouvoir mieux appréhender les outils de modélisation de la qualité de l'air, également de pouvoir mieux prendre connaissance des méthodologies d'évaluation d'impact sanitaire de la pollution atmosphérique. C'est enfin une plateforme qui va nous permettre de mieux comprendre les politiques, la cartographie des politiques et des programmes au niveau mondial qui sont en faveur d'une amélioration de la qualité de l'air et de pouvoir faire un transfert de connaissances et de technologies au niveau local. Merci beaucoup.
It really is great to hear from the air quality managers in the field. I think it gets to the heart of what the objective of AQMx really is, which is to make something useful for the individuals who are leading the way every day on the ground. Now, as we all know, there is a clear gap that exists when it comes to funding clean air initiatives, and we'll turn to our first theme of the day, which is the importance of financing the battle against air pollution, which is critical, and the role that AQMx can play in this. First, we have Valerie Hickey. Valerie Hickey, you're the Global Director of Environment at the World Bank, and you're leading efforts globally to increase capacity for air quality management. Valerie, what excites you the most about AQMx, and what role do you think it will play in increasing capacity to access finance in clean air?
Thank you so much, Vincent. Congratulations to you and CCAP for putting together the AQMx and doing it in concert with a coalition of the working, because there's so many of us working together on this horrible, horrible, sticky, evil problem, as Maria so rightly called it. First, I want to say that we're at an inflection point when it comes to making sure people have access to clean air. We've spent decades talking about the importance of clean air, talking about the evils of air pollution, and finally we can take yes for an answer. We have the authorizing environment, we have the Paris Agreement, we have the Global Framework on Chemicals, we have all sorts of agreements that underpin the right for people to have access to clean air. But this is a really sticky problem, and it's sticky for two reasons. One is because it's multifaceted and multi-sectoral in nature. And that is happening at a time when there is an affordability crisis. People don't want to see their prices go up, even though they want to see those middle-class demands of having access to clean air met. They can't always afford the price change that come with it. It's also, of course, a complex problem because it's multi-jurisdictional. And we're living in an increasingly polarized world where countries that are exporting pollution one to the other don't always get along, when cities don't always get along with the larger jurisdiction they're in with their rural neighbors, and in federal countries where all states aren't governed by the same party. And so these are the sorts of sticky problems. But one of the common problems that we think is surmountable and is critical to unlocking financing for the issue of getting access to clean air is exactly access to information. Because we're hearing the same questions, Vincent, whether we're working in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kyrgyzstan and the issue of residential heating and its impact on air pollution, whether we're working in Cairo on the issue of waste management, whether it's in Hanoi and the issue of transport, whether it's in Turkey and industrial air pollution, it doesn't matter. We keep being asked, what's the good information? Where is good practice? How do we know that we're accessing the right information, that if we're going to spend money at a time when money is expensive and it's scarce, we need to know we're spending it in the right way? And that's the value of AQMx. And we really see three buckets of questions that we get asked from all of our different clients. One is around data and analytics. What is the best information out there, the best way to assess source apportionment, for example, to make sure that their measuring is happening correctly? The next, of course, is around standards and policies. What are the standards and policies against which that data and analytics can be adjudicated? What are the right thinking for air quality managers around disclosure policy, around transparency? How do we make sure they know what's happening in other countries? They can get access to that information. They don't have to make mistakes. They can learn from other people's mistakes and save money doing it. And finally, of course, how do air quality managers help their sector colleagues, whether it's in industry, in transport, in energy, in agriculture, it doesn't matter, to understand how to make those interventions and those investments that are least cost but have the most impact. And Vincent, I'll finish by saying the one big challenge I think AQMx will have, and we stand ready to work with you on this, is to make sure, because of the affordability issues, because money is expensive, because it's scarce, because if we want to put more money against this, we have to make sure countries and cities and air quality managers have the best information at hand. We have to sunset bad information, or more broadly, sunset expired information, because in this space, technology is changing so quickly. We need to make sure that as we're putting out information through AQMx, it is the most recent and relevant information, because that's the only way we're going to unlock the financing at scale and at speed to really finance fixing this evil, evil problem. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you so much, Valerie, and thank you for your leadership as well on clean air. We know that having the World Bank engage in this platform is just so critical to reach not only the air quality managers that you mentioned, but also the ministries of finance in countries around the world who absolutely need this the most. So thank you for your contributions. We really appreciate it. We'll turn now to Yoko Watanabe. Yoko, as the Director of Environment at the Asian Development Bank, you really have been at the center of increased funding for air quality across Asia. Could you tell us a little bit about how you think the ADB can use AQMx to increase capacity across your region, and maybe what some of the most important factors to consider might be?
Right. Thank you very much for having us. And first of all, congratulations to CCAC for leading on the development of this platform. And the AQMx has a really wealth of information, and indeed a one-stop shop to addressing air pollution with a rich database from across the globe, and as well as within the different regions. And of course, the data on Asia and Pacific is what we are at the Asian Development Bank is so excited about. And as you noted in the beginning, as you introduced me, out of like 99 out of the 100 most polluted cities are in Asia. And we are seeing the impact of it. Actually, I see it every day that I'm based in Manila in Philippines, that this is really an issue of not only the health of our people, who we are losing, almost killing 3 million people annually in Asia, but also economic impact of these pollution is really, really serious. About 40 million annually, just 40 billion annually, only in Philippines is impacted on economy from air pollution. And so we've been working quite seriously and expanding our work in Asian Development Bank in supporting air quality improvement for the past few decades. And just for about the past 2 years, we have invested about $5 billion annually on air quality issues. And we've been working on policies and strategies, developing capacity of different developing countries in Asia and Pacific. We have also started to work on large-scale investment projects, so including policy-based lending to countries like China and Mongolia, and had significant improvements. And we're also working with actually Valerie and her team with World Bank to see what we can do more in India and other places. So it's really an important area of work under the Environment Department here in Asian Development Bank. And so the platform of AQMx really will be useful for implementing these projects in ADB, as well as for the developing countries that we serve with. And the platform is really a source of data to guide on how to conduct air quality assessments. The emission inventories is particularly important for decision-making tools. And we have been seeing those data and inventories are really used by governments like Thailand and others on decision-making, like when to sort of even stop schools or factories and other things like that. And I think these are really important data that we can rely on. And as a financing entity like MDB's main role is the finance investment projects. And we usually spend a lot of time and resources collecting data, doing due diligence and preparing project design in a right way. And that time is going to be reduced by having these kind of reliable data, and how much we can sort of reduce cost and time to develop a relevant project is really immensely useful to have these kind of platforms. So the easier we get those data and information, we can design a more effective and more impactful project and deliver and implement investment in a more efficient way. And the resources for online training programs that the platform offers is really well developed. And we really think that this can really help to develop the capacity of the government and civil society and others to develop appropriate measures for air quality projects in Asia and Pacific. And it can go beyond like transport, energy, and waste management and other projects as well, and mainstream them. So we are really excited to see what we can do on this, and also try to figure the economic impact of air pollution overall. And these are really powerful sort of tool to make a difference in the decision maker's decision. and policy change and transformation. So we are looking forward to working further with all of you, and ADB will do our part to share this information with our developing countries and partners so that this information can be used and the platform are well sort of configured, because we really believe that these kind of platform, unless we use it in a right way, it's not going to be fulfilling its purposes. But thank you again, and we really look forward to working with you further to further use and improve and utilize these data and information. So thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Yoko. It's great to hear that. And, you know, the Asian Development Bank has been such a driver of change, as you mentioned, from capacity building in Asia to delivering large scale finance that actually invests in solutions, but also in those data inventory developments that you mentioned, which is just so critical. And we also, of course, look forward to working with you further as well as AQMx continues to develop. Moving on now, we'll hear from David Foster, who is an air quality policy advisor at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office for the Government of the United Kingdom. David, it's good to see you. The UK played a leading role in the Climate and Health Declaration at COP28, and of course played a leading role as well in supporting the resolution on air quality that led to the development of AQMx, which recognizes the urgency of acting on air pollution. David, how do you think, from your perspective, donor countries such as yourselves can become even more effective in driving some of these projects that improve air quality around the world?
Thanks, Vincent, and thanks to everyone at the CCAC for inviting me to speak today. So I think for donor countries there are two main points here, and they are ambition and capacity. So how can we use our resources as a donor, both financial and political, more effectively to boost those two things when it comes to air pollution? So firstly, on ambition, you mentioned there the COP28 Climate and Health Declaration and the UNEA 6 resolution, which I think are good examples of how we can do this. One of the key aims of these agreements is to raise global ambition on climate and health, and with the UNEA resolution on air pollution specifically, because it's so important as a starting point to have those ambitious high-level agreements in place that all countries have signed up to. And I think, looking for those milestones further ahead, I think Maria mentioned the WHO's Global Air Pollution Conference, and we see that as a really excellent opportunity to strengthen that level of ambition further. And so the UK is committed to providing funding to the WHO to really build the evidence base on the health impacts of air pollution ahead of that conference, so that the attendees and decision makers there are really cognizant of the significant risks involved, because we think that will really contribute to securing a really ambitious outcome from the conference. But clearly, political will alone doesn't necessarily translate to action on the ground, particularly if the technical capacity to manage air pollution isn't there. So we need really to consider how we as donors can use our development funding in a way that builds capacity at both the country level and the global level. And that's why it's great that the UNEA resolution included a commitment to sharing expertise and data and resources through an online knowledge platform. And clearly the outcome of that is the one of the reasons we're here today, which is the launch of the AQMx platform. In the UK, we're really excited about the platform and the impact that it can have. And we hope to be able to announce some financial support to the platform in the coming weeks. So I think it's this combination of an increase in the global ambition, along with improved capacity and knowledge resources, which I think can really secure progress and lead to more finance being drawn into this space. Right? And when I say finance, I mean both in terms of government's own spending domestically on air pollution, but also in the development of really robust and investable project proposals, which we as donors can then look to get behind and support through our funding streams. So I think it's these sorts of activities and political engagement that donor countries can ensure we're effective in driving forward projects and broader work to tackle air pollution and its impacts on health. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks, Vincent. I'll hand back to you.
Thank you so much, David. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, the UK's focus on the connection between health, air quality, and climate, I think, is really helping to keep this conversation at the fore. So we appreciate the work that you're doing. Now, we know that providing and tracking finance for clean air is crucial when achieving clean air outcomes. And the Clean Air Fund, as we all know, has been at the fore of this work for some time. So I'll turn now to Jane Burston, the CEO and founder of the Clean Air Fund, Jane, it's really exciting to see such a growing movement around clean air. What do you think is the missing piece when it comes to air quality managers? And what role do you see AQMx playing towards improving air quality monitoring, as well as the overall management and sort of the galvanization of investment that goes into clean air, given that roughly 1% or even less slightly of international development funding actually goes towards clean air?
Thanks, Vincent. Well, I'm going to add my excitement to the excitement of the speakers who've gone before about AQMx. And there's three main reasons that I'm excited about it. The first of which is to your point about there just being 1% of international development funding going to clean air, the potential of the platform to galvanize the much needed funding. It's something that Inga Anderson mentioned at the top of this event is how little money is going to the topic. And it's a bit of a shame because as we're hearing, there's huge co-benefits for health, for climate change, for economic development, equity, and in an area where development funding is really very squeezed, we need to make it go as far as possible. So it's something that we track through this State of Global Air Quality Funding report, which comes out annually. The next report will be out very shortly, just a few weeks away. And what we found in the last one is that as well as this shocking statistic about just 1% of international development aid being spent on air quality, it's also really shocking how little goes to some regions. So we heard from Yoko that there's a huge air quality problem in Asia, and so understandably lots of the funding is being spent there. But really, there's African countries that are getting a very small percentage of funding. Just 5% of the very small amount that's available has gone to African countries. Latin America and the Caribbean, it's 1%. And those regions have some of the fastest growing cities in the world. So we do need to also look to distribute the funding equitably or increase funding in those regions that have so far not seen much. And that's why it's fantastic to see this whole of UN approach to air quality management, because I think when agencies collaborate and elevate this issue on the global agenda, it creates the kind of environment where it's possible to talk about maximizing co-benefits and making sure that funding that might be set up for health or funding that might be set up for climate can also be applied to air quality and can flow to the places that need it most. So the second reason that I'm excited about AQMx is that we know it's in really high demand among policymakers worldwide. The Clean Air Fund, together with UNEP, jointly commissioned a report a little while ago where we surveyed more than 100 policymakers and experts globally to figure out what the challenges were that they were facing when they're managing air quality. And the second biggest issue after the funding was the lack of technical capacity and knowledge, which many of the speakers have mentioned so far. Obviously, there's already a lot of guidance out there, but the people that we surveyed pointed out a few issues. Number one, it's quite hard to find the guidance that does exist. Number two, reports are often based on the experience of rich countries. And so if you've got lower resources, fewer monitors, less access to equipment, less access to training, then some of the guidance that exists maybe is less applicable. And then thirdly, there are topics that aren't really well covered in the existing work, things like health impact assessments or doing source attribution, where people identified that they would need more guidance. So I think AQMx is the much needed solution to kind of centralize and make the knowledge that's already available much more accessible and then build on it where needed. And so finally, the third reason I'm excited is because I think that AQMx will also be very helpful for funders. It's not just policymakers that struggle to find the resources and tools that they need. I think oftentimes funders don't have a clear picture of what's already been done when we're developing our strategies. And so then that leads to time-consuming mapping and scoping of what the gaps are, and in some cases, duplication of effort. So I think AQMx can also contribute to helping us identify the guidance and support that we can provide effectively that's additional and allow us to build on and complement previous work. So huge congratulations to CCAC and all of the agencies and partners involved in bringing it to life. I think it's a significant step forward, and I'm very excited to see it launch today.
Thank you so much, Jane. It's quite sobering to hear how little of that funding, as you mentioned, is going towards some of those regions that need it the most. But at the same time, the Clean Air Fund is doing an amazing job of finding individuals on the ground, driving change, and we're looking really forward to working with you on AQMx to provide a further platform for air quality managers to come together and make even more progress. I'd now like to welcome Marcelo Mena, who is the former Minister of Environment of Chile and a former CCAC co-chair as well. Marcelo, in your newest role, you're the CEO of the Global Methane Hub, which puts you in an incredibly unique position to connect the dots between climate and clean air. And in fact, many people might not actually know that methane significantly contributes to air pollution. Can you elaborate on this and how it happens, and also how your work on methane also helps to tackle air pollution? And given your success as the former environment minister in Chile, do you have a word of advice for those listening in today?
Great. Thank you so much for the invitation. I wanted to thank, well, of course, WHO and CCC for the leadership that they've had keeping the agenda strong and thriving, and also the Clean Air Fund, who has really reinvigorated the issue. AQMx is clearly going to be able to fill many gaps, and it would have been great to have that kind of support when I was in government. I wanted to say that it starts with measurements. There's a huge gap in measurement, and if you look at the map of where air quality is measured, there's there's problems in the sense that there's places that are overrepresented and places that there's actually no official measurements of PM 2.5 or any pollutants. And ignorance is not bliss in this on air quality. It comes with a huge burden of disease that we're now aware of. And so I wanted to say that first off, it's important to do this considering that at the same time that we're looking about reducing air pollution, we're also looking at implementing climate policy, and doing both at the same time is very effective. And this differs a little bit of the focus that global north countries have had to face, because many of the air pollution problems manifested themselves earlier than the climate crisis. So by the time climate policy started, extreme pollution like the killer London fog in the 50s or the ozone problems in Los Angeles in the 60s had already been largely addressed. This is not the case of many countries that are listening today. We need to do both at once, and we need to do it and doing so we could do much faster. So I'll just tell you a couple stories about how this could work and synergize. Santiago has the biggest electric bus fleet outside of China. And it wasn't solely climate policy, even though a lot of people like to claim so. It started with stringent emission standards that have to do with a pollution attainment program that we called Santiago Respira, which was actually inspired by Breathe Life when we were at the CCAC. Chile is phasing out coal power faster than most developing countries, and it's a combination of the increased capital cost of air pollution controls plus climate considerations that cause that decision. So the country is looking to update its PM 2.5 standard. The cost-benefit analysis shows that this new standard will bring 6 times more benefits than cost, and net zero is 2 to 1. So combined, they're much stronger. And a recent analysis showed that when we incorporate air pollution benefits in our net zero targets, that we go from a $23 per ton of CO2 reduced benefit to 120. So it's a huge increase of the benefits when we start taking these into account. Why methane and air pollution? I just want to give you one really good example. For many years, we thought that biomass burning for cooking and heating is carbon neutral. And this is something that we hear across the world. But now we know that this is not the case. Methane, for example, in the energy sector, the number one methane contributor in the energy sector is wood burning, which also contributes to black carbon. And one wood burning stove combined between the black carbon and the methane, one wood burning stove that you would think is not causing a lot of pollution is almost 2 tons of CO2 equivalent per year in the 100-year horizon. And if we take the 20-year horizon, which is the short-term warming potential, it's 5 tons. It's like having a car. So did we think that our wood burning stove or our cook stove was actually like polluting as much as a big SUV? If we knew that, we would have taken into account different things. And when we do this, we see the clarity that cleaner fuels and ultimately electrification of heating and cooking is the path forward. But methane itself contributes to a significant part of the temperature rise, of course, and is a precursor to ozone, which also causes the death of hundreds of thousands of people a year. And it globally also affects crops. It's co-emitted with ammonia when we have mineral management problems, which is a precursor to PM 2.5. It's co-emitted with VOCs, which is a precursor to PM 2.5 and ozone. It's co-emitted with black carbon when we're doing agricultural burning. So working on reducing methane also contributes to particulates going down. But both need to be done at once. And that's what we're trying to do with groups like the Clean Air Fund, with Jane leadership, of course. And how could others contribute? Well, calling on your countries to adopt clean air standards. We have 150 countries with net zero targets. We only have one aspiring to WHO guidelines. Net zero without clean air is such a missed opportunity. It should be a partner and a partner of climate policy, air quality management. Take my word for it. A former minister who was an air pollution activist that helped the country reduce PM 2.5 and 50% in major cities in 4 years, and also help reduce power emissions in half. But it was because we did both at once, not just one and then the other. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marcelo. I mean, as you say, the link between methane, warming, air pollution, health, super critical for people to understand, as well as the many benefits that you outlined that tackling air pollution brings. And it's really incredible, actually, to hear about the reduction of by 50. Did you say 50% of PM 2.5? That's really, yep, I think, remarkable, and a lesson that a lot of other cities and places can learn from. That's incredible. Great. So we'll now hear from our next air quality manager in the field representing Thailand.
Hello everyone, welcome to Automotive Emission Laboratory. I'm Itipon Ahmad from Pollution Control Department, Bangkok, Thailand. Today I would like to share our facility for emission testing. We measure particulate matter, particulate number, and also the size of particulate matter, and also toxic emissions. And then we working with mathematical model for appropriate policy and mitigation measure to manage and control transportation sector in terms of air pollution and climate change. I would like to welcome any agency for further collaboration, and welcome to Thailand. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It really felt like a live report from Thailand. That's brilliant. It's great to see the work happening on the ground, which again is really what the benefits of AQMx will bring for air quality managers around the world. So countries, as we know, are on the front lines of tackling air pollution. Many of you have already mentioned this, and national policies and strategies are going to play such a critical role in addressing this challenge that's currently before us. So with that in mind, we'll move to our next theme of the day, which is hearing directly from countries on the ground and their perspectives on how AQMx can benefit them, as well as the importance of national approaches to clean air. So first, we'll turn over to Ms. Salela Okuth, who is a Senior Principal Environmental Compliance Officer at the National Environmental Management Authority in Kenya. Salela, we know that governments are working with a variety of different stakeholders, and that's crucial to advancing work on air quality. With your experience in Kenya, how do you see AQMx further supporting this goal?
Thank you very much for this invitation. I really feel excited to be part of a great event where we feel as a developing country that we are heading the right direction in terms of information on how to prosper air quality management. First of all, if you look at what the World Health Organization speaks to in Kenya, it's about 19,000 deaths per year due to air pollution. And probably this is just the recorded because they existed in hospitals. What about those who die when they are not in the hospitals, and probably because of pollution? So as Kenya, we look at it as this is a great opportunity, a landmark in progressing air quality actions. And as a government and as a regulator who has had capacity challenges, this is a great platform that will enhance capacity, not only for Kenya, but Africa at large. In what kind of information, what policy prioritization do we need? What is the priority area for action? What is our priority pollutant, among others? Because with information, as a country, as a continent, we are therefore able to guide what we do in this particular space. The other thing that I also take note of this particular platform that I find very critical is what information, therefore, would we have, and who is our target audience? Today, as we speak, we know there is air pollution, yes. But what do I tell my policymaker? What do I tell the general public? What do I tell the technocrat to see that indeed there is something wrong? For my politician, if I talk about health issues and talk about economic losses because of air pollution, they might hear me out. For a technocrat, when I give them science, they'll be willing to buy into that. So we look at this as a platform that will help us have the right information to the right audience, and therefore will give us a very strong buy-in. And as a national, as a country, we also look at it, this is an opportunity to talk about air quality agenda even within the region. I know very well that the East African community has been struggling on developing the ambient air quality standards for the East African region. And one of the challenges, we cannot agree because we come from different understandings. So basically, if not well backed by science, by factual information, we'll continue rolling and not making progress. So this is a strong platform that we see as an opportunity to have harmonized air quality standards for the region. So looking forward, we hope that we will utilize this as a region, as a continent, and even as a nation, and this will prosper us. My only hope and prayer is that we can package the information that can be understood by different target audiences to better this agenda of air quality management. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suleila, and I'd be remiss not to thank you for the role you played directly in advocating for this resolution as part of UNIA 6 as well. It's so exciting to hear about the progress that's being made in Nairobi, across Kenya, and I think the communication challenges as well that you mentioned on how to actually talk about air pollution, it's just so important, and speaking to your audience in the right way, as you said, that's the challenge before us all, and I think a challenge that AQMx can help to deliver on as well. Appreciate your inputs. And with that, I will move over to Western Africa. As many of us know, Ghana is also an incredibly strong leader in the region on air quality and partners with universities across the country to make a difference in tackling air pollution, both at the national and the regional level. We have today Mr. Desmond Appiah, who's from the Clean Air Fund in Ghana on the ground. You've long been involved in the fight for clean air. What gives you hope, Desmond? What gives you hope in this fight now? And what has changed in recent years? And maybe what are your hopes for how AQMx can further develop capacity at a national level?
Thank you very much, Vincent. And it's great to see and listen to the great contributions that have come in. One of the big things we are seeing in our work here in Ghana and in other jurisdictions like in South Africa and in Kenya, where Clean Air Fund is operating, is a gap in collaboration and in coordination. I think we've seen on ground through our work with governments and other actors that is one avenue that we really do need some information to be able to impact and ensure that we can measure the impacts that we are making. And I think what gives me hope is that the AQMx is a platform that we can share knowledge, share ideas, be able to check what is working in similar context, and also be able to ensure that there's collaboration. And we're doing some work in Ghana, for instance, in collaboration with Global Methane Hub. And it will be great that the results is shared, for instance, on the AQMx so that similar countries in the same context can be able to learn from that. We are also learning about capacity development. I think other speakers have alluded to that. That there is a huge gap in building the capacity of the political class to understand the issues of air pollution and air quality, and also not just the government technocrats to bring them up to par with the happenings around the world, what information exists, and what they can also be doing when it comes to air quality. I think the standardization aspect that the previous speaker alluded to is also one big thing, and having a one-stop shop that the AQMx would give to us or would afford us is really great. And we are very hopeful that we'll be able to continue to highlight the opportunities, have a place that we can go, share knowledge, get others to be able to be a reference point for us to be able to move the conversation forward. So we're very excited about the role that we're playing in the various jurisdictions and the opportunity that this tool would add to our arsenal and the arsenal of other actors as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Desmond. I know from the first days of the CCAC a few years ago, your leadership on air pollution in the region has been crucial. And I know you were involved, I think, in the first WHO Urban Health Initiative pilot project in Ghana as well. So it's very neat to see how this all comes together with this launch of AQMx here today, many years later. Thank you so much. Now we'll hop across the Atlantic. We're doing a lot of region hopping here to South America and Mr. Adalberto Maluf, who is a co-chair at the CCAC, as well as a National Secretary of Urban Environment and Environmental Quality at the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change in Brazil. Adalberto, Brazil has really taken a leading role in prioritizing air quality globally. And in your new capacity as a new CCAC co-chair, why is creating a one-stop shop so important to improve air quality around the world? And also, how do you see Brazil's leadership on air pollution, as well as AQMx, leading to a focus on air quality at COP30, which will be held, as we all know, in Brazil in 2025?
Well, hello, Vincent. Great pleasure to be here. It's a great pleasure to be with all of you. Well, I can't see myself. I don't know if the connection is...
We can see you, Adalberto. Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. It's a pleasure to be here. And well, I think CCAC, especially on the clean air, when we think about it as a one-stop shop, for air quality and short-life climate pollutant, I think it's extremely welcoming situation for countries like us. Brazil has come again with a very strong environmental agenda. We launched this Green Ecological Transformation Plan led by the Minister of Environment and the Minister of Finance, to really get it high level on the government. We also signed a pact with all the powers, so the Supreme Court, Congress, Senate, the lower house, on this pact just a couple of weeks ago, as we are updating the climate change plan, our adaptation plan. So in May, we were able to finally approve, after many, many years in Congress, our national air quality policy. Also in July, we were able to approve, after almost 10 years of debates, our new air quality standards based on World Health Organization. So next year starts phase 2, 2033, 2040. We are aiming to get to the final standards on the World Health Organization 2005. We also expanding now with financing from fines for the National Air Monitoring System, a website that shows population how polluted the cities are, the impact on public health together with the Minister of Health. And we are trying to move as much as possible to start now updating all the emission standards for vehicle. I think light vehicle, we do have a lot of things, but heavy duty vehicle, motorbikes, machinery for agriculture, for construction, stationary generators. We didn't even have standards for some of these applications, so we know we have to do it. We were also able to approve at the end of last year a new green auto regime, also a new green industry plan. So in order to really make everybody together. But what I felt is that although we are trying to we are launching all this program, we really don't know very well how to focus, where to focus, how to implement, how to get the cities and the states together. So we were looking for a lot of partnerships. So CCAC was really important for us to bring partners like EDF, the Environment Defense Fund, which is helping us on the national strategy, Clean Air Fund, the Clean Air Task Force, the Global Methane Hub, so many partners. Also, CCAC was able to fund some of the projects that we wanted to do, like develop a national short life climate pollutant action plan, a national vehicle emissions program, a national inventory of fixed emission sources, which we didn't have, update our mobile emission, reduce methane on livestock, reduce methane on agriculture and urban. So I think this international support is really good for us to do what we want. Like our goal now is to update our NDC with the short life climate pollutant, raise the bar on the ambition, bring this debate inside the G20, bring this debate for COP30 next year in Brazil, because the situation is dramatically. Brazil is facing horrible droughts, at the same time, horrible floods. Right now, I don't know if you can see, but if you look at my window, there's a huge cloud of fire and particle matter because of fires. The whole country is burning. We are facing one of the driest years in our history. The rains are really low. So especially with illegal fires, you know, the guys that are doing deforestation, they're trying to open up the forest to do agriculture and cattle. It's a horrible situation. So São Paulo, Belo Horizonte, all the big cities in Brazil today, as we speak, we have a big cloudy of fire. So we need to find ways to have also regional coordinators, especially with our South American neighbors here in like Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, because the fires start in Brazil, they go to Bolivia, they start in Bolivia, they come back to Brazil. So it's a very difficult and challenging situation. And the only way for us to tackle this is if we cooperate, we get the best standards, the best knowledge available out there to really make the case for civil society and for population, how important it is to link stronger and stronger air quality and climate change actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adalberto. It's heartbreaking to hear about those fires and the droughts that are happening, but as you say, it really highlights the importance of joint action on climate and clean air. And it's a reminder, as you said, that air pollution doesn't know any borders. It's going over to Bolivia and other regions. So it's quite striking to hear it described that way. But at the same time, we're really looking forward to working with you as the new CCAC co-chair to take some of the learnings that you have in Brazil, pioneering action on clean air and working to take this message to COP30 and beyond. Thank you so much. We'll now hear from our next air quality manager in the field from New Delhi in India, showing how they're contributing to the implementation of a national clean air program and how AQMx is going to support them.
Hi, I'm Anju Goyal. I live in Delhi. I work at Delhi as an Associate Director of Air Quality Research Division. Through Clean Air Project in India, which is supported by Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, we are implementing innovative solutions, such as conversion of coal-based tandoors to gas-based, promoting electric vehicles, and introducing advanced monitoring system. This project is very well aligned with India's National Clean Air Program. Through Air Quality Management Exchange platform, we will share the knowledge that is being developed under the Clean Air Project in India, and will also learn about the best practices adopted worldwide.
Thank you so much. Now, when it comes to an integrated approach on air quality management, we know that it's incredibly important to partner with regional and municipal governments, who are often the first line of defense when it comes to air quality management. And so our next conversations here today will focus on the subnational participation in AQMx, really highlighting the value of an approach on clean air that involves all levels of government, and particularly those at a subnational level. So first, we'll play a brief video from Shirley Rodriguez, who, as many of you know, spent years as London's Deputy Mayor for Environment and Energy, and who was also laser focused on tackling air pollution. She'll speak to some of the key successes in London and some of the lessons that perhaps some other cities could pull from as they tackle air quality locally.
Hello, my name is Shirley Rodriguez, formerly London Deputy Mayor for Environment and Energy, and currently on the board of the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. In London, the Mayor Sadiq Khan has made tackling environment a key pillar of his administration. And on air pollution, he set the challenge that London should meet the WHO guidelines by 2030 by transitioning to a zero-emission London. The Mayor's vision and leadership has been absolutely crucial in this area. I've been asked to talk a little bit about the successes and challenges that we faced. But key has been that leadership. We've delivered huge and fast progress, primarily by shifting away from fossil fuels. We've been electrifying our buses, our taxis, and our infrastructure, but also promoting active and public transportation. And we've just passed the first anniversary of the implementation of the Ultra Low Emission Zone, or ULEZ, the largest clean air zone in the world of its kind. And it disincentivizes the use of older, more polluting vehicles. And I'm really pleased to say that together these initiatives have resulted in toxic air pollution levels to be an estimated 53% lower in central London and 21% lower in outer London. When Sadiq was first elected in 2016, there were almost 500 schools in areas with illegal levels of pollution. And now there are less than 20, and we soon hope that number to be zero. Key success factors has been to make sure that people understand that air pollution isn't just an environment issue, it's a health, economic and social justice issue. We embedded action across all policy areas, from land use planning to housing, transport to culture, and so on. All these sectors have levers to pull in cutting air pollution and its impacts. Secondly, we built a robust case for action through strong evidence, using our research programme with independent universities to make and highlight the strong case for action, whether it was health, equity, or economics. And we use them to help us monitor the source of emissions to identify where best to focus our efforts and our resources. Thirdly, we engage with communities and stakeholders constantly, proactively, and early on, partly to raise public awareness of the health impacts of air pollution, but also to hear their concerns and identify what might trigger their support and action. We use that feedback to adjust the design of our policies. For example, the ULEZ scheme, we help drivers providing scrappage schemes or exemptions or discounts. But we also heard feedback from those who don't own a car in London. Half the households in London don't actually own a car. So we invested in what they wanted: walking, cycling, public transport, and electric vehicle infrastructure. Fourthly, we planned for opposition, and you'll see that. Legal challenges, media opposition, misinformation. We built coalitions from the fantastic ecosystem of people and organisations in our cities. We found clean air champions, influential people and organisations, parents with children who are ill from pollution, doctors, business leaders, faith groups, all to help us speak out in support or action on air pollution. And finally, we learned from others, so we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. What worked in London may not be appropriate for your context. So it's fantastic to see today the launch of the AQMx, which is going to be a key resource for you to help you work out what's right for your city. Use it to find the advice and guidance on these challenges, whether you're developing air quality emissions inventories or your stakeholder and communications plans. And of course, do talk to your peers. So congratulations all, and good luck to you too in all your work to clean our air.
It really is great to hear about some of those successes in London, especially when it comes to improving air quality around schools. I think that's probably a point that's been mentioned earlier, but children are among the most affected by air quality. So it's great to hear this progress being made in London. And thank you to Shirley specifically for her advocacy here. Hopping back across the pond once more, we'll now turn to Beatriz Cardenas, the former General Director of Air Quality Management for Mexico City and the current head of Air Quality for WRI. Beatriz, in your work, you promote an integrated approach to air quality management, which is so important. How do you think AQMx can help spread best practices among air quality managers around the world? And what benefits do you think AQMx could bring to the Latin American and Caribbean region more broadly?
Thank you. Well, so happy to be here in the launch of the AQMx, really celebrating this comprehensive resource that will help us to share and learn more about what the cities and countries are doing. I mean, in terms of the Latin America, I think that talking about the young people, Latin America with a population of 660 million people, half of it is below 24 years. And all these cities, we have very good success, like Mexico City, like Santiago that was mentioned by Marcelo. But we have a lot of challenges, that's also mentioned by before. We have a lot of megacities. And what we have heard, what we have worked with many managers in this region is that they are, I mean, what we can see is that air quality managers are so committed, so willing to learn and share, but they are also overwhelmed or overloaded. So this comprehensive resource, the air quality, the AQMx, will help managers in these cities, in these regions, not to only to know what is going on, to share what they have been doing, and also identify what are the challenges that other regions, other cities are facing as well as they are. We are very happy to hear that many cities and many regions and organizations as WRI are committed to make this platform as useful and to meet the needs of those who are working on the ground and bringing the issue of air quality as a very important and an urgent challenge that we all face. So congratulations to everyone who has been working in this platform. As I mentioned, WRI will be contributing and collaborating to make this as a very important resource that could help us to breathe better air. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beatrice, and thank you for WRI's contribution as well to AQMx. It really has been amazing so far, and as you said, we're really looking forward to supporting the places where you work. So thank you for your contribution. Jumping across regions again, we'll hear now from Glinda Bathan-Batarina, who's the Deputy Executive Director at Clean Air Asia. Glinda, it's no secret, it's been mentioned already on the call today, air pollution is a critical problem across Asia, but there are many countries that have forged a way forward on battling pollution, such as China, for example. So in your work with Clean Air Asia, you've supported cities across the region. What are some of your favorite examples of public engagement when it comes to air quality? And how do you think that AQMx can maybe help air quality managers engage a little bit more directly with the public?
Thank you very much, Vincent, and congratulations to all for this launch of the AQMx. Yes, for certain, there have been very good examples of people and sectors coming together to address air pollution. And you mentioned the Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei, for example, is really a success story that is being shared across the region. But definitely we need more examples like these, and more cities need help in order to move forward with setting air quality goals and fulfilling those air quality targets. So what we see in Asia is that there is, while air pollution is continues to be an issue, we still need to see air pollution abatement rise to the top of the agenda of mayors, governors, ministers, and even presidents. For these reasons, really a unified and global effort like this one to address air pollution is important, because working together, we would have a more powerful voice, and we can build a stronger community of air quality champions and practitioners in Asia and across the world. So AQMx would allow us to scale efforts by sharing resources and experiences, and efforts that have been put these together, led by CCAC in a curated guidance, makes it easier for cities to either make the first step or to take the next one, depending on where they are in their journey towards clean air. This is very important in Asia, a region where we have national and local governments with very different capacity levels to either set up air quality monitoring or conduct emissions inventories, develop clean air action plans, and implement them by working with sectoral agencies. So an example I'm going to give of a success story in this journey is one of the megacity Quezon City. So Clean Air Asia assisted Quezon City to have the environment department of the city work across all the sectoral departments, including the traffic division, including the business permitting section, and all the other sections, including solid waste, to really come together to include clean air mitigation actions in their local climate change action plan, which C40 had helped them develop. And so in this now climate change and clean air action plan, they have very clear targets and mitigation measures with roles for each of the different agencies in the local government. And now Quezon City has actually set up an air quality monitoring system, a hybrid one with low-cost sensors and a reference monitor, and regularly communicating to the public the levels of air pollution that they are breathing. But more than that, they're now they're implementing now the measures that they had put in their clean air action plan, including putting up an electric bus system, and now looking for funding for solarizing public elementary schools. So it's so inspiring to see cities, some of these cities, leading cities now really implementing their clean air action plans. And Clean Air Asia is very happy to be seeing the air quality management platform launch today. And also very happy that the approach we had taken in our guidance framework for better air quality in Asia, particularly in assisting cities and countries at different stages of air quality management, is being built upon by AQMS. You may count on Clean Air Asia's continued strong support and commitment. Again, congratulations to all on the launch of AQMX.
Thank you so much, Glenda. Quezon City, I mean, that's such a great example of the integrated approach, really building integration on clean air across all those different action plans in government. And as you said, I mean, those communities of practice, building them from the ground up is so crucial, especially given the different levels of capability at different levels of government. And I know that my CCAC colleagues in just a few minutes will go into a little bit more detail in just a few minutes as to what that community of practice will actually look like. So thank you again. Clean Air Asia has done just so much work that we're really looking forward to sharing through the platform, through AQMX specifically. And now we'll hear from our final air quality managers in video format from Slovakia and India.
Slovakia has places of breathtaking beauty and places where you'd rather hold your breath. Household heating is the biggest cause of air pollution, followed by heavy traffic. As air quality managers, we work hard to tackle these issues by raising awareness about health impacts, proper heating, and sustainable travel. We collaborate with municipalities, visit schools, and create strategies to improve air quality. We look forward to learn from the AQMX platform.
Namaskar, this is Pushyamitra Bhargav, Mayor, Indore, the cleanest city of India. Indore's enhanced air quality monitoring infrastructure is a game changer with real-time data and increased coverage. We are taking bold steps to ensure a healthier, cleaner environment for all citizens. Namaskar, this is Pushyamitra Bhargav from the cleanest city of India, that is Indore. The AQMX knowledge platform will strengthen our commitment to cleaner air. It will equip us with global resources and tools, empowering us to achieve better air quality for our citizens. Thank you.
I just want to take a second here, if I can, to thank the air quality managers on the ground that we've had videos from today. I think it's a great, helpful reminder of who will directly benefit from this platform every day. So thank you to those who've submitted their words today for us. And finally, we'd like to conclude today's event. I realize we're running just a few minutes behind, but if you'll bear with us, we'd love to hear from a few of our colleagues here at the CCAC who are directly involved in building this platform and who have worked alongside many of you that we've heard from today to launch AQMX today. And so first, I'd like to turn over to Dr. Subramanian, who is the sector head, air quality at the Center of Study of Science, Technology, and Policy. Subu, you provided so much support to the development of the AQMX platform, and I know the team here is really appreciative of that. What do you see as the most exciting aspect of this new platform?
Great. Hi, Vincent. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So just a little bit of background. CSTEP is India's leading research-based think tank, and the air quality sector is focused on air quality management that moves us towards clean air for all by developing policies through scientific research, including air quality modeling and observations and stakeholder engagement. We are the Institute of Repute under the National Clean Air Program, tasked with assisting the 4 non-attainment cities in the state of Karnataka. And we also work with other states like Punjab, develop statewide clean air action plans with support from the Clean Air Fund. I was happy to contribute to the AQMX under the leadership of Sandra, Gary, and others, and we're really excited with the final product. I actually come to you today from Kuala Lumpur, where I'm attending the 2024 IGAC ICAC GP conference, which has a theme of From Local Knowledge to Global Sustainability. And we can see that in AQMX, which shows that a lot of material has been developed across the world to help air quality managers. This new portal brings together all of that information, but importantly curates it to ensure high quality information is available to air quality managers starting new initiatives. We can all learn from each other now much more efficiently and at a high level through AQMX. Some examples, AQMX shows the user how to set up a air quality monitoring network, perform source apportionment, emission inventory, and other relevant topics in a stepwise fashion. It links to the resources necessary for each step, making it a great guidebook for learning. And as we build out our own customized capacity building curriculum, we shall upload these resources to AQMx to grow our collective knowledge base. So yeah, this is a great platform for learning. It will be a live platform that will be carefully curated. And so that when people use it, they know that they're getting well-considered and highly regarded information, and that's really will help us move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Subbu. It's great to hear some of the specifics of what people will find. I think that's particularly useful to hear from your perspective as well, given your involvement. And now I'm excited also to introduce Gary Kleiman, who is also one of the architects of AQMx, just to say a few words about the guidance, what people will find, and what is to come in the future, because as most of us know, this is just the first phase of AQMx. It's only the beginning. So over to you, Gary.
Thanks, Vincent. I'm especially pleased to join you today because it's been almost 7 years since Iyad Kirbek, who's now the Director of Air Quality at C40, and I first envisioned a platform to make air quality management guidance globally available and at a level that was appropriate for all air quality management practitioners. So it's amazing to finally realize this dream and to launch this first version of the platform. It's also very exciting to be launching this with the partnership of CCAC and so many global institutions and clean air partners, those that participated in the needs assessment conducted by the Clean Air Fund and UN Environment Program you heard Jane referring to earlier, as well as those like Subbu and others who've helped us to develop this initial version of the curated guidance platform, which is really a unique aspect of this. It's geared towards air quality management practitioners who are just starting out and provides concrete how-to explanations and resources for getting started with the various aspects of air quality management, whether that's monitoring, inventory, source attribution, as you heard. You name it, this platform's got it. The curated guidance that we've included in the platform will provide a common foundation for all of these clean air partners, NGOs, UN agencies, and others to utilize as what we hope will be a foundational curriculum for the long-term and sustained training programs that practitioners told us they need. So, as we watch the rollout of this initial product, and we work with both the practitioners and the partners to refine and improve our initial offering, we also will be building out guidance for the next stage of air quality management engagement and the stage after that and after that. But that's not all. We also will be enhancing the search functionality using AI, adding detailed guidance for sector-specific information, and linking to several other AQM tools and platforms that are yet to be developed. But eventually, the goal is to formalize training around the AQMx modules. The result, we hope, will be an organized and comprehensive basis for jurisdictions to improve and enhance their AQM planning capacity, moving in stages to achieve cleaner and cleaner air. So stay tuned, but more importantly, please stay engaged to make AQMx the best source of air quality information for all of us. And thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I think it's an understatement to say how excited we all are to see this come to fruition and how important you've been in this platform too. And thank you for giving us a large chunk of your time over the past 7 years to help develop it. Although, as you mentioned, there's lots more left to do. So hopefully it doesn't take another 7 years to take this further. It's really appreciated. And now I'll turn over to another one of our CCAC colleagues, Juliette Laurent, who is leading the coordination of AQMx here at the Secretariat in Paris and developing our plans for outreach to the global community of air quality managers. Juliette, I know we're all excited to see the AQMx website actually come alive. Can you tell us a little bit about the different components of the website itself and maybe a little bit on the role that outreach will play when it comes to developing this platform?
Sure. Thank you, Vincent. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliette Laurent, and I'm very pleased to show you AQMx for the first time. So the platform offers two key components. First, we have the curated guidance that has been specifically developed for the 8 areas of air quality management. And each curated guidance page followed the same template with first a table describing the 5 stages of engagement and then 10 steps that air quality managers can follow with associated resources. And the curated guidance is made available in all UN languages. Second, we have the Resource Exchange Library, which contains currently over 700 resources and which will be updated over time. So there's a set of filters to help users navigate the library so they can find the materials that are most relevant to them. So for instance, an air quality manager from Latin America looking for guidance on how to develop an emissions inventory would find generic guidance from the IPCC or from the European Monitoring and Evaluation Program, but they would also be able to find resources that are specific to their region and that are available in Spanish. Another user, for example, who is interested in conducting a health impact assessment would be able to access online tools and guidelines to assist them. And they would even be able to find tools that are focusing on specific sectors, for instance, household energy. And finally, the AQMx was developed to coordinate with Breathe Life. So as you can see here, the AQMx website redirects users to the Breathe Life website and vice versa. So our next step for AQMx include the organization of regional training and outreach workshops targeting air quality managers. The objective is first to hold interactive training sessions on AQMx with context-specific use cases, but also to gather the feedback of users and to discuss what's coming next for AQMx Phase 2. So the first training session will be organized in Egypt in September with WMO. Then we'll have a workshop in Jordan in October with UNEP, another workshop in the Kyrgyz Republic in December, also with UNEP, and more workshops are planned for 2025 in Nepal with ICIMOD, in Brazil, and in Colombia with WHO. So AQMx will be expanded over time to include additional guidance, as Gary mentioned, but we're also thinking of developing training modules and establishing communities of practice to allow for knowledge and best practice sharing between air quality managers who face similar context and similar challenges. Our objective really is to ensure the active engagement of the AQMx community in the long run and to keep making this platform a collaborative initiative involving all the members of the air quality community. So we really look forward to working with you on this journey to clean air, and many thanks to all of the experts who contributed along the way. Thank you, and over to you, Vincent.
Thank you, Juliette. I know at that demonstration, I hope everyone is looking forward to going and playing around and exploring the AQMx website on their own as well. So really appreciate that. I'd like now to try playing the video that we had up at the top from the Right Honourable Helen Clark, who is the Our Common Air Commissioner co-chair, as well as a former Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Helen Clark recording for the Climate and Clean Air Coalition launch. Thank you for inviting me to speak at this virtual launch of the Air Quality Management Exchange Platform, AQMx for short. Clean air is so important for our health and well-being. Yet over 99% of the world's population is exposed to levels of air pollution which exceed the World Health Organization's air quality guidelines for fine particulate matter. That means almost all of us are at risk. Air pollution is responsible for 7 million premature deaths annually. That staggering number surely underscores the urgent need for action on air pollution. But we currently lack a clear global picture of national level air pollution and of the air pollution standards, targets, and approaches which governments are using. So I think it's very positive that the Climate and Clean Air Coalition has conceptualized an innovative platform to make the latest guidance and tools on air quality management available. This is a significant step forward in the efforts to achieve the interim targets outlined in the World Health Organization's air quality guidelines. They were developed in response to a UN Environment Assembly resolution calling for enhanced global cooperation to fight air pollution. The AQMx can help bridge gaps in air quality monitoring by supporting the exchange of best practices, tools, data, and information generally. The platform can continue to evolve through collaboration with air quality managers and aim to build capacity and tackle air pollution on a global scale. Governments worldwide face significant challenges in their efforts to ensure clean air for their citizens. So the Climate and Clean Air Coalition's initiative to line up ambitious agenda setting with targeted mitigation actions across countries and sectors is commendable and essential. Currently, I'm co-chairing with Dr. Sumia Swaminathan Our Common Air Commission, which includes 19 dedicated leaders from diverse backgrounds, scientists, policymakers, finance experts, health advisors, all united in our joint commitment to advance the clean air agenda. We seek to raise awareness of the scientific and economic justifications for clean air action and of the solutions, of the need for more dedicated funding to tackle air pollution, and of the importance of having a globally visible mechanism tracking progress. I extend my gratitude to all of those who've contributed their time and expertise to Our Common Air Commission, including Martina Otto, head of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition Secretariat. The approach Our Common Air has taken has three main thrusts. One, advocating for clean air as an economic asset. We think public development banks and the broader development finance community should prominently recognise clean air as a very valuable economic asset. Secondly, we seek the development of shared metrics for tracking air quality improvements. And thirdly, we're advocating for dedicated finance pillars. These could be created within existing resources, and where necessary, there could be new financing entities established to secure additional funds to bring clean air for all. The economic argument for investing in clean air is compelling. Clean air measures often align with climate solutions. They reduce healthcare costs, they enhance worker and crop productivity, and they contribute to improved education outcomes, employment, and tourism. I'm firmly convinced that clean air is a fundamental human right and a cornerstone of equitable, sustainable development. Addressing air pollution won't only improve lives and livelihoods, it will also help reduce health inequalities. And the time to act on this is now. Thank you.
Many thanks to Ms. Clark. As she said, it's so critical that we raise awareness on the wide-ranging benefits from clean air, and that's exactly what the Our Common Air Commission is doing. And so finally, to close out the event, I'd like to ask our CCAC Head of Secretariat, and as Ms. Clark mentioned, also a commissioner of the Our Common Air Commission, to close the event with some final thoughts on how we at the CCAC will use AQMx to strengthen short-lived climate pollutant mitigation at the national, regional, and global scales. Over to you, Martina.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Vincent. And I'm glad that we managed to get the contribution from Helen in. It was meant to come at the beginning to actually guide us through, but it was actually a fantastic closing remark as well. So what is left to say? I want to emphasize that we developed AQMx to close a capacity gap. And Jane already explained that lack of capacity was found to be one of the prime stumbling blocks to tackling what is a political priority and a human right, the ability for all to breathe clean air. And as we recognize that we need to invest much more in clean air because it's such an asset for sustainable development. We absolutely need also to invest in people to actually get this done. And AQMx is meant to be a backbone for that. And in that respect, we're super proud that we're able to react speedily. And we think, well, we reacted speedily. Gary just said, well, he had a dream 7 years ago. And so definitely we benefited from all this congestion time that he had to think how we can best get about this. But basically the UN Environment Assembly was 7 months ago and asked for this, and we were able to pull it together. And why were we able to pull it together? Because there is this amazing experience gathered in the partnership that the CCAC is about. So really a big thank you to everybody who has been involved and who has been speaking today. But what we presented today is not an endpoint. We're going to use this, and you already heard from Gary that we will evolve the content to build up the curated guidance as we all go along. So higher levels of sophistication. You heard from Juliette that we might actually be able to pull in some of the much more of the sector work as well as guidance on that, because the air quality managers need to be able to link back with all the sector colleagues well, a lot of the action has to happen as well. You heard from Juliette that we run training sessions. So this is not a website that sits still, but we want to use it and through which we will support existing and also help build new communities of practice. And that can help facilitate as well the regional collaboration that is so important. But AQMx for us is also part of a programmatic effort under the Clean Air flagship. And in the CCAC, flagships are a way to concentrate efforts for the full partnership, as we have done very successfully, for example, with the methane flagship. And the Clean Air flagship has 5 components. They range from governance and regional cooperation to science, advocacy, private sector engagement, and finance. And Peter Derry from Ghana spoke about the Africa Clean Air Program, where we collaborate with the African Union Commission and where we can use AQMx in building up regional knowledge centers. Under the science heading, we work on a report on making the economic case for action, and that will really look at the cost of action and the cost of inaction, and thereby it will help make the case for more air quality management, and bringing in, as we spoke with Valerie, for example, from the World Bank as well, bringing in the finance ministries as well. So please watch this space. And under the finance heading, we call for a clean air finance sprint that has been borrowed a little bit from the methane work as well, where this has been very, very successful in rallying up more funding. And here the collaboration with the philanthropic community and with the MDBs is really critical, as is bringing the topic of clean air into other discussions, notably climate, given the multiple benefits we can reap by cutting super pollutants that turn on the heat and make us sick. And last but not least, through our trust fund in the CCAC, we do support countries directly, for example, on air quality plans and standards, on integrated assessments and inventories, on policy and regulation in key emitting sectors, and more. And let me close, because we're a little over time, let me close this amazing round by thanking all of our partners and all the amazing speakers today. I would like to repeat Valerie's. We can now take yes for an answer. I very much like that. And I think we can say there is a movement in the air for clear skies ahead, and we can now. And with that, I turn back to Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina, and thank you again to all of the participants for joining at today's launch of AQMx. It's, as you said, it's really heartening to see the community from across the world come and rally around this initiative. And as Juliette mentioned, and as I believe she shared in the chat, the website is now live as well. It's aqmx.org. Once more, that's aqmx.org. I'm doing my best infomercial voice here. So once again, encouraging everybody to check out the website, stay engaged with us as the platform grows. And this is just the beginning. And we hope to see the same level of involvement and engagement in the future as we've seen from you all today. So thank you again for everyone for joining, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you again.